I was a leper outside the city. None would come close, but you wouldn't let go. What worked back then will work again. I know the blood is still the blood. And I had an issue no one could help me. I tried them all. My last try I crawled. And what worked back then will work again. I know the blood is still the blood. Let's sing. And oh, how precious, how beautiful, this priceless love I've come to know. In the midst of my darkest storm, I know the blood is still the blood. It is. Say it.
I was just like Mary, labeled by shame. They called my wrong, but you called my name. What worked back then will work again, 'cause I know the blood is still the blood. I know the blood is still the blood.
Say it. And oh, how precious, how beautiful, hey, this priceless love I've come to know.
Come to know
In the midst, hallelujah, hallelujah.
my darkest storm.
One thing I know
the blood is still
One more time, say, oh, how precious, how beautiful, yeah, this priceless love I've come to know. I found out
in the
in the midst of
my darkest storm. I know the blood is still the blood.
still works and works, still works and works. It still heals and heals. It still breaks and breaks. Hey, hey, hey.
Still clean.
Welcome to Faith Beyond Limits with Dr. Phil, a weekly experience challenging your thinking, increasing your growth, and stretching your faith. Faith Beyond Limits is an interactive program designed to promote spiritual transformation by exposing our audience to God's Word, foster personal growth via relevant topics, and effect social and cultural change by discussing real issues affecting our daily lives. The vision and mission of Faith Beyond Limits is to instruct, inspire, improve. Join us today as we stretch your faith beyond limits. Hey, welcome to Faith Beyond Limits. Today is Friday. I am delighted to have you on with us this morning. It is always a joy to join you, our viewing audience, those of you who are part of DPM Nation, from wherever around the world that you are joining us today. We are excited to have you, and today is going to be an amazing experience because I have a dynamic guest who is joining us today, and we're going to be talking about self-care that increases productivity. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to go ahead and share this with your friends. Before I even introduce our special guest, I know many of you know who she is, but she probably looks totally different today, so you're probably like, is that the same person that I know? And so I want you to go ahead and share this with your friends, share this with your colleagues, start a watch party, because today I think everybody should listen to this session that we're going to teach on, because everybody needs to understand how to take care of themselves so you can do the big vision, the big plan, the life goals that you have. You got to be able to last. So today we have Tati. I'm going to introduce her in a minute, but I want you to go ahead and bring your friends on. Share this live with as many people as you can. Those of you on YouTube, we haven't forgotten about you. I get a lot of complaints like, you only talk about the people on Facebook. Now we go on YouTube. All of you on YouTube, we are happy to have you with us as well. We want you to ask questions, put your comments in the chat, send us those emojis, and we're just excited to have you on. So Tati, good morning, and I'll introduce you in a little bit, but just go ahead and say good morning to those who are listening.
Good morning, DPM Nation. How are you? How is everybody doing out there? Happy Friday.
All right, so listen, what we're gonna do is we're gonna step aside for a few minutes as you go ahead and bring your friends on. But before we do that, let me go ahead and give a few shout outs to some people who are already on. Sister Talia Charles is on. Thank you so much for being on. Yanette, thank you for your comments. You said you love the intro. We try to do things with excellence around here. Elmita is watching from South Florida. Pastor V is on. Hey, Sister Lily, it's been a while since we've seen you on. I have some friends who are watching in Tanzania. Yeah, those of you in Tanzania, let me give you a big shout out. We have friends in the UK that's watching, Haiti, Bahamas, Trinidad, Uganda. So we're global, y'all. So we're just excited to have you on. So I'm gonna step aside for a few minutes as you go ahead and bring your friends on, and then we'll come back and get the show started because we have so much to talk about today. So do me a favor right now, go ahead and share this live with your friends, with your family, and let's bring them on. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome to all of you who have joined us. We are so excited to have you on. We want you to continue to share this. This morning, I have the privilege of having with us Miss Tatiana Fortune, who is the CEO and owner of Aromatic Perfume Oils, a new business venture that is getting ready to take off. So I want to go ahead and say good morning to, I call her Tati. For the sake of the conversation, we'll keep Tatiana. Tatiana, thank you for being on this morning. Thank you for coming on Faith Beyond Limits. Tell us about who you are and what makes Tatiana Fortune go.
Yeah, well, first of all, Dr. Phil, thank you so much for having me on Faith Beyond Limits and just sharing and inviting me to come on your platform. I've been a part and been watching the various episodes for the past several months, and so it's really an honor to be on and connect with your audience. And so Tatiana Fortune is a woman of faith. You know, I'm a leader in the community. I have experience in the nonprofit sector. I oversee some community, a community organization down in Collier County, and I'm also CEO, as you mentioned, of Aromatic Perfume Oil. So it's great to be able to talk about a little bit about my passions in helping people, as well as my love for entrepreneurship.
Awesome. Listen, this is, if you haven't met Tatiana, you are in for a treat today. She is a walking dictionary of information, of knowledge, of experience. I have a tremendous amount of respect for her. And it's an honor to have you on Faith Beyond Limits. So we're going to jump right in. Today we're going to talk about self-care. We're going to talk about the importance of taking care of yourself and making sure that you are healthy and whole so that you can help other people. So when I thought of this subject, I thought of no better person than you are, because this whole month we've been talking about fitness. We had Mr. Teddy Joseph on that talked about physical fitness and how you can take care of your body. We had Miss Emma Phillips on that talked about nutrition and how we can eat healthy and how our plate needs to look colorful. And then last week, in honor of Black History, we had Dr. Glover on, who gave us a wealth of information on. So we figured what better way to keep the month going than to have you on. So tell us about your story and how you got involved in social work, because I know you do a lot of stuff with social work. You're not a social worker, you're a leader who happens to do social work. So tell us how you got involved with that.
Sure. So my social work journey started in high school, right? You know, around that time, your junior, senior year, that's when, you know, your guidance counselors are saying, hey, you know, what do you want to do after you graduate high school? So I was a part of a program called Upward Bound that received federal funding to help see underprivileged students in different inner city communities participate so that they can go ahead and move forward in college. And part of that experience was completing a career assessment. And so I did a couple of those. Originally, I thought I wanted to do journalism. When I was a child, you know, in 5th grade, 6th grade, I, you know, kind of dabbled in journalism, public relations, that type of thing. And then I thought for a second, you know what, I think I want to be in youth ministry. But the whole thing there was, how do I channel my interest in a way that's going to help people in a career that will allow me to bloom and blossom? And so after taking that career assessment, it was, you know, revealed that I had a gift for helping people, and some of the options included social work. Psychology was one of them. I was one of the people in my high school, you know, friends would come to me and share their problems, and I would sort of kind of like be the wise friend, so to speak, and not, you know, and try to steer them in the right path. So I knew I wanted to help people in that capacity. So when I looked at the profession of social work, I said, man, I loved it because it was helping people on various levels. There's a wide range of sectors or environments that you can practice social work in, from direct one-on-one to macro, you know, working with organizations and community. And so I like flexibility. I like having opportunities to do what I want, and I'm not limited to a particular population. So
Wow.
That's how I got into social
You
work.
know, listen, you never know how you're influencing someone as far as their career path. I remember for me, getting into writing was a result of my 11th grade English teacher, Mr. Sean DeKnight, Dr. Sean DeKnight. I wrote an essay when Irvin Madge Johnson contracted HIV. And after he read the essay, he was like, man, you have a gift for writing. You are going to be an author one day.
Wow.
And here I am, I think 6 or 7 books later. So you never know how a teacher can impact you. So Tati, I know you're very passionate about self-care. So What role do you think that self-care plays in productivity, in someone's overall productivity?
That is such a great question. Self-care is pivotal to productivity. We live in a world today where everything is fast. Everyone is trying to be more productive, get the bag, be their own boss.
Secure the bag.
Secure, right? Yeah, secure the bag, right?
Secure the bag,
exactly. So everybody is out here trying to secure the bag and climb the corporate ladder. Or if they're not on that path, it's all about how do I become more productive? If I'm a stay-at-home mom or a father in the community doing, whatever the task is, it's all about how do I continue to be more productive and continue to check those things off the list. But what people fail to realize is productivity depends on our ability to care for ourselves. According to recent research, it shows that 45% of people cannot sleep at night due to stress.
Wow.
And now we also understand that stress is good, right? There's good stress and there's bad stress. And a third of people that go to the doctor, they report symptoms that is directly related to stress and anxiety.
Wow. Did you say 45%?
45.
Goodness.
Cannot sleep at night due to stress. So they're thinking about, how do I pay my bills? How do I take care of my kids? How do I, help my organization? Pressures from all sides. And what it does is it cripples us physically, emotionally, mentally. And so a lot of times people think, well, I'm not being productive if I'm just kind of giving myself a break.
Right.
I'm not being productive if I take some time off. I'm not being productive. But the thing about it, self-care, it kind of is, it's counterintuitive in a way. It appears that it's counterintuitive, but it's the most successful and strategic thing that we can do to ensure our productivity. Sometimes we have to, a lot of times, not just sometimes, we have to slow down to move up.
Wow.
And that is a paradigm
so
shift that we need our communities and our society to understand.
That is so amazing. Listen, if you haven't shared this live stream with someone, please go ahead and do this, because I think as many people as possible need to hear what is being shared today. So, Tati, tell me about what are some of the direct benefits of self-care? That's the first part of the question. And what are some of the consequences of a lack of self-care? So it's a two-part question.
Sure. So benefits of self-care include clarity.
Okay. So clarity.
Concentration. Creativity.
Okay.
It also affects us mentally. So, we think we're, like I said, there's clarity and, we're able to focus better. So we're not forgetting things. We're sleeping. We're well rested. We're balanced. We're in a state of peace, right? So that inner peace, we're able to navigate any situation. Our emotions are balanced.
Wow.
Right? And also a benefit is that it helps us in our health physically. So what happens when we don't do self-care is insomnia, burnout, stress, chronic health conditions, and it may even lead to death, unfortunately.
Wow. I mean, listen, did you just hear what she said? The benefits are you have a peace of mind, you sleep better, but one of the consequences is that it can even lead to death.
It can lead to
the
death.
lack of self-care.
Yes.
So what are some of the common excuses you hear of why people fail to practice self-care? What are some of the common excuses that you hear people go, well, why they can't practice self-care?
Some of the common excuses is that people are not aware, right? They don't see the value, or they don't understand the value and the implications of what happens if you don't practice self-care. So that's number one. The other thing is that people think, well, I don't have time for it. I've got too many things going on. I don't have time for self-care.
Okay, so the time factor.
A time factor. Another factor is that they think that others need them. Well, I can't. My kids need me, my job needs me, my community needs me, my partner needs me. I don't have the time. Yeah, that's great, but I don't have the time for it, okay? So because others need me.
Wow.
Which leads to guilt. People feel guilty.
Wow. So
right?
time, guilt, a sense of I'm indispensable.
Correct.
Okay, so keep going.
That. Another thing is, especially for leaders, they feel like they're invincible. Well, maybe it's a sign of weakness. I'm supposed to be able to take the charge and do everything and always,
You're talking to me right now.
you know.
You're talking to me
So
right now.
it's like, you know, they feel like they're invincible. And
Yeah.
also some people feel like they should come last. Leaders should come last.
Mm.
You know, so why should I be here thinking about myself when I have a task to get done and I have to do X, Y, and Z. I have people to respond to. But a lot of times, Dr. Phil, it is that guilt and they think it's selfish.
Wow.
And self-care is not selfish. I cannot stress that enough. Matter of fact, it is more selfish to not practice self-care than it is.
Wow. Listen, do me a favor right now. I want you to stop whatever you're doing right now. Seriously, I want you to stop whatever you're doing right now and think of 5 people that you know needs to hear this type of information and tag them or pick up the phone, call them, text them, inbox them. This is too good to keep to yourself. Because a lot of times we're taught how to be busy,
Oh, yeah.
but we're not taught how to be productive.
Sure.
And busyness doesn't mean effectiveness. I always say that. So let's, before we even move, so tell me how someone can begin to address those excuses, the whole I'm invincible, I'm indispensable, I'm needed, I don't have time. How can they begin to address that?
I think it starts with being honest with yourself. And look at what is what I'm doing now creating more peace in my life, creating a sense of fulfillment internally. Did I end my day and more anxious than when I started it? Do I feel like I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders? What is going on with me physically? Because a lot of times we think that, our body operates, from a physical standpoint, and it doesn't connect with our mental state and our emotional state. But take an assessment of where you are. Honestly, hey,
Wow.
How am I living my life? Am I feeding my spirit man? Am I feeding my emotional self? Am I feeding my physical self? And not just with food, but what am I doing physically? Because metaphysics research shows us that what happens to us mentally and emotionally affects our body. And a lot of times
Wow.
we're not paying attention to those. So for example, some people might feel, they feel a tightness in their chest. Okay? Short breaths all of the time. They're taking short breaths and it's become their normal part of life. It's like,
Right.
well, so they might go to the doctor and say, hey, doc, I've just been feeling short of breath. They haven't been breathing. Breathing is a fundamental part of, yes, we breathe,
Wow.
right? Like we're breathing right now because if we weren't, we wouldn't be able to go on to the next minute, right?
Yeah.
We're breathing, but
Yeah.
that is a gift of God that I think even as believers, we don't realize the power in breathing. Taking
Man,
that breath.
you're teaching some stuff today. So talk
Taking a deep
directly
breath.
to the talk
Taking
directly.
a deep breath. And I learned this about a couple of years ago, the power of breathing. And as on my journey of going through self-care, one of the things that I realized was being present with my breathing. Sometimes we try to be present with other people, and that's great. But first, it's like, let me breathe. The breath that God gave me. And it is so refreshing. It's renewing.
Wow.
There's been times where I've had moments of tension and anxiety, and I said, Tatiana, breathe. Take 2 minutes and breathe. 2 minutes. And instantly, I just felt a release.
Wow.
So that is one step that we can take, a practical step, being mindful of breathing. I was on my way here, I encountered traffic. And, at times when you're trying to get somewhere and, you're busy and you want to get to the next destination, I said, what is it that I can control? Let me breathe through it.
Yeah.
So instantly it's like, okay, I'm present, I'm mindful, and I'm going to get to my destination, and so I can navigate. So that is one basic thing that we often
Breathing.
overlook. Yes.
Wow. This is so good. I hope you're enjoying this. Again, you are watching Faith Beyond Limits. We're going to take one more question here before we take a break. We're going to give you a chance to share this with as many friends as possible. It's simple. Just hit the share button on your device. So this is a big question.
Yes.
Is self-care a biblical principle? If so, in what ways can the church do a better job of promoting this concept? So is it biblical? Or are we talking new age? Are we talking some, self-help type of thing? So is this biblical?
Absolutely, it is biblical.
Okay.
And here's why I say that.
Preach to us.
Well, I'm not a preacher by any means.
Oh, yes, you are.
We have one right here that's doing it all for us. But the only thing I can say about that, yes, it is biblical, because one of the greatest commandments, Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And for a long time, there's been an emphasis on love your neighbor, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's biblical.
This is so good.
It's part of the commandment. Love your neighbor. However, we didn't really stay or look at as, not instead of yourself.
Come on. You're
Or
preaching
less than
now.
yourself.
I hear the music in the background.
But as you love yourself. And so God He's a caring God. He's a loving God.
Yeah.
The God himself, the creator of the universe, he practiced a form of self-care. Omnipotent, all of that. On the seventh day, God rested. He paused. He took care of himself.
Wow.
Right? And so for us as believers, we need to think about that in a new way. It is not selfish. That doesn't mean that it's self-serving, although immediately some people might think, well, why should I love myself? I'm called. No, the Bible actually says you love your neighbor as you love yourself. So that means that if I can only love someone to the capacity that I love myself, I can't love anyone else beyond what I love myself. So if I love myself and I show care to the body that God has given me, I'm a good steward of what he's allowed me to possess mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I'm going to be able to transfer that out to someone else, to his other children that is in need.
Well, that leads me to one more question before we take a break here. So for the person out there who's struggling with understanding, why is this person so mean to other people? Why is this person so selfish? Why is this person I'm in a relationship with, why are they so nasty? You probably just got your answer because you can't give what you don't have, right? So as someone loves themselves, and out of that overflow, they are going to be able to transact love to their coworkers, to their colleagues, to their family members. So self-care, actually, if I would dare to say, I'm not the expert here, but self-care is almost like a fertilizer for relationships.
Oh, yes.
So a lack of self-care is reflected immediately in fractured relationship. Would you agree with me?
Oh, I absolutely agree. It's true. And you can tell when you're in a relationship with someone that is stressed, anxious, depressed, burdened. There's a lot of things. They're not going to be able to show up fully in that relationship if they're not taking time for themselves. So a lot of times, inadvertently, we become victims of that lack of self-care from that person's standpoint.
Right.
And there's something I wanted to add to the previous question about what can the church do. I think, if that's okay.
You're the expert here.
So I think that what the church can do globally is normalize that conversation of self-care. And teach that, listen, the importance of self-care, because there are many pastors, many spiritual leaders who are caring for individuals, carrying all of these burdens from people, a wide variety of personalities, and they're taking it on, and they don't have a healthy outlet. And when the church begins to promote and foster an environment of self-care, it trickles down to members who feel like, you know what, it's important for me to spend time with myself so I can be a better spouse, I can be a better parent, I can be that person that God has called me to be. And understand that our leaders need self-care as well. So I think that's where part of that conversation that the church needs to have.
That's so good.
Giving people time off, right? Whether it's on staff, volunteers, whatever it is, encouraging that. Because if we, as individuals, we make up that body, right? If we're caring for ourselves and being a good steward of what God has called us to do, we're going to have a more impactful and a more enriched church.
This is so good. I hate to pause it, but we got to take a little break and give our audience a chance to formulate their question. Listen, we want you to send in your questions for Tatiana. She's my little sister,
okay,
so I call her
fine.
Tati. We want you to send your questions, give us your comments, post something that resonates with you, send us some emojis. We want to make sure that we're landing on real people and not just in cyberspace. So do some self-care today by asking a question that can help you get better. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take like maybe a 1.5 minute break, give you a chance to catch your breath, breathe, as we just heard, right? Breathe, and then ask your questions, send us your questions, and then we're gonna come back with more information from Tatiana. You are watching Faith Beyond Limits with Dr. Phil. We're excited to have you on with us today, and we hope that you are getting every ounce of juice out of this conversation. We'll be right back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Come, stay with us, and we'll be right back with more information from our wonderful guest, Miss Tatiana Fortune. See you. Hey, today we want to talk to you about prayer. This is one of the most intimidating biblical concepts that most Christians fight with. What is prayer? Basically, prayer is God's invitation for us to have a relationship with Him. In Matthew chapter 6, Jesus tells the disciples, when you pray, not if you pray, but when you pray, say, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Let me just give you 3 things that prayer is. Number 1, prayer is communication with God. Prayer is where we release what's in our heart to God. Prayer is also a manifestation of dependence on God. It's not that God doesn't know everything, but God wants us to know that we depend on Him for everything. And prayer is a channel that brings humanity to divinity. Whatever situation you might be facing with today, let me encourage you to take a posture of prayer, to go to the Lord in prayer, and know that God answers all prayer. Tatiana Fortune, who is the CEO and owner of Aromatic Perfume Oils, which is a great small business that is on the rise. I'm telling you right now, keep an eye on Aromatic Perfume Oils because it's going to be one of those giants in the next couple of years, and I'm just impressed with her ingenuity. So we do have some questions that came in during the break. What are some steps one can take to initiate self-care? Is one of the questions that we got.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the steps is committing to yourself that you are going to practice self-care in one way, shape, or form. So let me break that down. Self-care looks very different for different people, right? But it is the intentional and deliberate act of taking care of yourself or feeding yourself spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically.
I'm going to ask you to look into the camera.
Yes.
And say that again, just like you just said it, because that's
Sure.
very important.
So self-care is the intentional act of taking care of yourself emotionally, physically, spiritually, and mentally. So think about, okay, what are the things that makes me happy, that contributes to my well-being, right? It could be taking a walk, saying I'm going to take a walk around the block for 20 minutes a day. That is a form of self-care. Another form of self-care is saying, you know what, when I get home on a day off, I want to have a bubble bath, right? And that is your way to unwind if that's what makes you happy and brings you joy. So that kind of brings your emotional level, you feel good about it. You want to relax after a long day of work. You can do that. That's a form of self-care. Another form of self-care is spending time with people you enjoy being around. Your friends, Call up that friend that you haven't seen in a while.
Wow,
right?
this is really good.
You know, take them out to coffee, spend that time. Sometimes we have to, it's not that complicated. So we think that we have to go and book a trip somewhere. Yes, that might include that, but sometimes it's just creating little vacation experience in your everyday life. So you live a life where you don't feel like you have to run away from it, you know, every quarter or every year. Wow, that's great, but you create that routine on a daily basis. So for example, there's days where when I'm working, I might take a 15-minute break and go outside and enjoy the sun.
Something as simple as that. Stepping out of the office.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm able to, first of all, being in the sun, it helps us. There's a lot of positive benefits from being in the sun. You know, we get a lot of good things from being outside in the sun. And so it helps to calm me a bit. I walk around, I change my scenery, and it helps me. I'm able to think a little clearer, right? So that was just 15 minutes of self-care. Another thing is selecting what you eat. Taking a look at, hey, am I constantly running to fast food to eat?
Emma would love this conversation because she just talked about eating healthy. Remember that great meal she made?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's little things like that. And like I said, self-care is going to look different for different people depending on where you are in life, the season of life that you're in, you know, priorities shift, all of that. But always keep in your mind, what did I do to reduce my stress and anxiety today in a healthy way? So I'm not saying, you know, go out and binge drink or, you know, be reckless. That's not what I'm saying. But it has to promote your well-being.
Yeah.
And another thing, as believer, that is really, really pivotal is our prayer life and meditation and being in God's presence.
Wow.
Taking that time.
That is so good.
Whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long. I cannot stress as believers how critical it is with God.
That's
and
good.
From that, when God is pouring into us, we get direction, we get inspiration. He gives us the path on where to go, and He gives us His peace in His presence.
That is so good. Listen, I agree with you 100%. One of the things that Emma talked about during the show on nutrition was taking time out to eat.
Yes.
And actually slowing down, not eating at your desk, wolfing the food down.
Yeah, that's so true.
Slowing down to enjoy the food so that your brain can communicate to your body when it's full. So you would never think something as simple as that.
Yeah.
For me, self-care is, I got to be by the water in the Caribbean.
Yeah,
Aruba, Bahamas.
That's good.
You know,
Yeah.
but one of the things I started doing recently was just taking an afternoon. I run. I go running like 3 to 4 miles 3 days a week after I work out with Mr. Teddy Joseph from Made for This Fitness. Shout out to my fitness coach who has me looking real slim and trim. And I run, and then some of the guys, like, we just play video games.
Yeah.
You would think, oh, Dr. Phil.
Right.
But when I'm playing video games, I forget about ministry.
Yeah.
Sometimes I pray with my good friend, my spiritual son, Chris. We work together, but when we're on that couch playing video games, there's no titles. I'm just out to get him.
That's right.
And he's out to get me. By the way, I owe him a payback coming up pretty soon. So let him get through this weekend of worship so I don't mess with his spirit. But so let me ask you a question real quickly.
Sure.
You're a business owner. You are executive at your job. You do work at the church. You do a lot of stuff. So how do you practice self-care? I mean, you just kind of gave us some hints as far as just taking a walk.
Yeah.
But what are some of the things that you do that keeps you in the rhythm of self-care? So give us a little sneak peek about your life.
So some of the things I mentioned, I have a planner. You know, I'm not 100% perfect at it, but I have been using a planner to intentionally help me look at my life at a long-term perspective, as well as a day-to-day, month-to-month, and helping me to write out what are my priorities, what projects I'm working on. So it keeps me organized, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody comes to me about something that isn't really in line with my values for that time, when I say values, I'm talking more so of like what it is that I'm working on, my goals and everything like that. I get a lot of requests for various things, and I just have to look at the place of life where I am, and how does it align, and I just have to learn. I've been saying, no, not right now. It's because I don't want to overcommit, to something where I know I don't have the capacity to fulfill. It's
Wow.
not fair to me, and it's not fair to the other person that's asking. So having a planner to help organize my schedule, and spending time in the morning, waking up, doing my devotionals, and also exercising, making that a part of, and I used to hate exercising. I had to do it. I just did it because I had to and I knew it was beneficial. But honestly, every time I complete a workout, I'm like, I'm so glad I did that.
That's good.
And exercise is one of the most underrated treatment methods that is utilized.
Well, I can tell you from experience, exercise really helps you clear your mind.
Yes.
Like some of my greatest thoughts come while I'm running. I'm engaged with the Holy Spirit. I'm listening to worship music. We have a fervent worship playlist that I listen to, and I get some good nuggets while I'm running.
Yeah.
You talked about meditation a while back, and I know that you run aromatic perfume oils and those scents. So tell me how having that aroma in the room, without us going too much into new age.
Oh, sure, yeah.
How does that help?
Oh, wow.
With the thinking, with just creating a different ambiance.
Fragrance is extremely powerful. Fragrance has been around for centuries, since the beginning of time, right? The Bible says in the book of Proverbs, oil and perfume make the heart glad.
Wow.
So that's actually biblical, okay? For me, scents and fragrances, I love candles, I love perfume. I started a fragrance brand. It really helps to put me in a place, and for a lot of people too, it just brings calm. It brings a sense of serenity, and especially when you wear it, it's a self-confidence booster.
Yeah.
It's that invisible thing that speaks to your personality, that makes you unique, that makes you stand out, whether you wear it wherever else. But it's that thing that evokes positive memories, right? You ever smelled something and you said, it brought you back to years scent.
Wow.
And so as part of self-care, we're an affordable luxury brand, aromatic perfume oils. And so we encourage women, hey, take time out for yourself. Celebrate yourself.
Wow.
Wear something that makes you feel good. So yeah, it's that invisible accessory to our daily wardrobe.
To piggyback off what you just said, one of the ways that you can practice self-care right now is to get yourself some aromatic perfume oil products by visiting, you're going to give them the website.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we don't invest in our well-being, we spend on our obligations.
Yeah, that's
right?
so good.
So paying bills is spending on an obligation. I'm obligated.
Yeah.
Investing in something like a nice perfume oil from aromatic perfume oil is investing in my well-being, giving myself that permission to wear something that smells nice, to do something for myself. So Tad, if you can go ahead and give us the website, because today for the first 10 people who asks us a question or sends us a comment, you're going to give them a discount that they can use to purchase some aromatic perfume oil products. So what's the website and how can they get in touch with you?
Absolutely.
Before we continue with the other questions.
Sure, the website is aromaticperfumeoils.com, and aromatic is spelled AROMATIC, perfume, PERFUME, oils, OILS.com. And if you comment below on this live feed, whether you're on Facebook, on YouTube, I will be sure to connect with you and give you a special discount code only to the DPM users, so viewers. So if you want to say, I want aromatic perfume oils, comment right now and I will send you a link, a personalized link for DPM viewers.
So again, if you comment on this live right now, as you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, Ms. Tatiana Fortune, who is the CEO and the owner of Aromatic Perfume Oil, she will contact you and send you a direct link on how you can get a discount code to get some. I purchased, they don't have any for men, by the way. I purchased some for I purchased them for Emma and some other, for Crystal and some other women who are part of our network, and they absolutely love them, and They're like, man, you know, those other places have nothing on what you guys are doing. So, so someone said, I need some for my wife. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, man, if you're listening to this, let me tell you right now, you can score some great wifey points.
Yes.
They call them brownie points, but we can score some great wifey points. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a short break, and we're gonna give you a chance to post in the comments so you can get this discount code with Tati. We're going to be right back with our last couple of questions, and we're going to give you a chance to post your questions right back. And we'll be right back with Miss Tatiana Fortune from Aromatic Perfume Oils. Don't go anywhere. Don't leave us, because we have some great questions that she's going to answer on the back end of this break. We'll take a quick break.
Thanks for sharing this time with us today. We hope you were blessed by the teaching and inspirational time. At Dr. Phil International Ministries, our goal is to present clear biblical teaching and creative programs that will equip, inspire, and propel you into a deeper walk with God. Also, we count on your prayers and financial gifts as partners of this global ministry. Your generous financial gifts make it possible for us to impact more lives for eternity. To help us continue this great work, you can give securely at www.drphilministries.org. or on Cash App, $Dr. Phil Phillips, and on Zelle, jecphil@comcast.net. Or you can write to us at P.O. Box 1873, Lehigh Acres, Florida, 33970. P.O. Box 187, Florida, 33970. We also have a great online store where you can get a copy of Dr. Phil's books, audios of sermons, and teachings. While there, you can also grab a DPM Nation mug, t-shirt, or hat. Visit us at www.drphilministries.org at any time. There you can subscribe to receive our weekly podcast and our weekly 90-second devotional delivered right to your personal inbox.
Welcome back to Faith Beyond Limits. I have today our special guest, Miss Tatiana Fortune, who is the CEO and president, founder, owner of Aromatic Perfume Oils. And thank you for those of you who've been sending your comments. So far, we have about 4 people who are going to get that special DPM code. One of the questions that we talked about being a friend to people. One of our viewers said, how do you know a true friend?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's an interesting question.
Yeah, how do you know a true friend? I think one of the ways that you look at who a true friend is, or you can kind of determine somebody who's a true friend, is seeing how do they support you, right? How do they help you be a better you? That's one of the fundamental things. So is this person encouraging you? Are they in your corner? Do they approach you when you didn't make the right reaction to a situation? Are they able to lovingly challenge you? So that's one of the ways we look at a true friend. Are they there for you when you're going through a rough time? Are they standing with you? Are they holding your hand and saying, hey, I'm here for you. I can, help you out in a situation. So I think that is a definition of a true friend, and also respect.
Wow.
Respect and honesty and loyalty. I can go on, but I don't know if there's anything that you'd like to add.
I think you nailed it all. I have a few more questions because we can keep you forever, but we know you have other things to do because you're busy. Who is your role model when it comes to a balanced leadership lifestyle?
That is such a hard question to answer. I would say I have a variety of role models. You're a role model, of course, Dr. Phil. As a leader, you have definitely, shown me how it is to lead balance, even though, we're not perfect in any way,
right.
But you lead that, you set the example. And I would also say I have a group of wonderful women in my circle. I'm not going to go into names.
Yes,
but,
we don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, we don't want to get in trouble, but these women, they, some of them may be leaders in a professional sense, others may be leaders in their communities, others are entrepreneurs and things like that. But they're moms, some of them are wives, some of them are single. And I just admire how it is that they live intentionally with grace and they're able to fulfill the calling that God has on their lives. Again, no one is perfect, but I love that they are intentional and they manage their roles. and it's a joy for them, and it doesn't feel like a burden. So those women, I salute you, I applaud you, and thank you for being that example, and also to you too, Dr. Phil.
Well, thank you. You're very kind. I'm working on self-care. I've been getting better because of the circle that I have around me. My team that holds me accountable, make sure that I'm resting and I'm taking my day off, and I'm due for a quick trip somewhere in the Caribbean pretty soon as this Corona thing lays down, so I can just be on the beach and do the ministry of nothing.
Yes.
That is my favorite ministry, the ministry of nothing.
That's real.
Is where I get to do nothing but just get up and have no plans, no meetings, nothing to respond to but just me, myself, and a glass of water, a glass of water on the beach somewhere in the Caribbean. So one more question here, Tat, and we'll be done. In what ways have you been influenced to help others become better?
That's a good question, a great question. I've been influenced by the Lord, right? Christ is that ultimate example of what it is to help people be better. And so, you know, I don't mean to sound all spiritual or anything like that, but I mean, he really is the model for us. And my desire is just, I want to live out that life. Whatever God has placed inside of me, my gifts, my talents, live it out on purpose. And our purpose is impacting people in that unique way that the Lord has for us. And so that's the thing that influences me every single day. I don't want to waste my time. I want to live intentionally with purpose and with a mission.
That's awesome. So Tat, as we bring this to a close, how can people get in touch with you? With your product, how can they connect with Tatiana Fortune? And they say, man, you know, this woman is really powerful. I want to get something from her line. How can they connect with you?
They can connect on our website. We do have a contact form. People can go ahead and complete that. You know, purchase our products. We're on social media, Facebook, Instagram.
What are they looking for? Are they looking for Tatiana Fortune?
Aromatic perfume oils. And they can find me on my personal Facebook as well, Tatiana Fortune. So I'll be happy to connect and help you be a better you.
Okay, so one last question. What does recreational time look like for you? When you're chilling, when you're in chill mode, what does that look like?
Nothing.
I kind of have an idea, but I'm not going to.
Well, I want to hear what you think it is.
Well, it's sitting back with a glass of water and reading a good book, or just turn the phone off and maybe a chocolate chip cookie here or there from Cream Woman Baked.
You got it. You hit the nail on the head. Yes, I love doing that. I love watching African movies sometimes, you know, on Netflix. You know, I'll go on a Netflix binge or just chill.
Just chill.
The
ministry of nothing.
Nothing, being with good family and friends and laughing and dining, eating good food, and just chilling and doing absolutely nothing.
Wow. What an honor it is to have had Ms. Tatiana Fortune. She will be back, by the way, because she doesn't just talk about self-care. She's an entrepreneur. We're going to be having some entrepreneurs come on. We have an entrepreneur roundtable very soon. We're going to bring some of our entrepreneurs and just talk about how someone can still be in a 9-to-5 and still run an effective business on the side. And so she will be back. And I want you guys to go to her website, order her products, support her, because one thing that you don't know about Aromatic Perfume Oils is that they have a philanthropic aspect to the business. So I know firsthand that they support some of the work that we do in Africa and Haiti and different parts. So whenever we're doing something, Aromatic Perfume Oils always invest hundreds of dollars. So when you support a small business like this, and you are actually sowing into the kingdom, into the lives of people that you'll probably only meet on the other side of eternity. So it's not just putting your card information, buying that oil. You're actually helping someone come to know Christ, investing in life. So that's why I'm so passionate about encouraging you to go to aromaticperfumeoils.com right now and purchase something for a friend, surprise someone, do an act of kindness. And though, again, today's Friday. On DPM Nation Friday is our generosity. It's TGIF. Think Generously. It's Friday. We definitely count on your support and your commitment, your partnership to help us push this ministry forward. And so we're still in the process of recruiting faith partners. Faith partners is someone who gives a gift of $50 or more a month to help us, pay the bills, support the children in Uganda that we support and pay for their school, help do missions around the world, and also sustain our staff here. So if you love what we're doing and you connect with this, there's multiple ways that you can give. You can give on drphilministries.org. You can give through Cash App. You can give through Zelle. You can give by texting to give. You can mail it. We prefer that you send it through electronically because it gets to us quicker. There's no mail delay.
Yeah, right.
And I want to tell you, this one right here, she is a very big supporter of Dr. Phil Ministries. She really, really pours into us. And if you haven't downloaded our mobile app, we would encourage you to do that because it's where you can connect with us as well. So in the coming days, we have some more information we're going to be giving you. We have a great women's conference coming up in the month of April.
Yes.
Tati's going to be one of the speakers. You don't want to miss that women's conference. It is going to be amazing. Capital A-H,
Yes.
amazing. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be 3 days of pouring into the women. We have workshops, breakout sessions, general sessions, and we have a great lineup of speakers. So we're going to give you more information on that coming up. And last but not least, our Truck to Trunk partnership with Agape Christian Fellowship, where we're feeding the families in Lee County every Saturday from 11 to 5 here at Agape Christian Fellowship. Stop by, grab a box of food. If you know a family who's in need, encourage them to stop by. We have enough to feed at least 2,000 households every Saturday. So far, we've fed over 4,500 people.
Wow.
4,500 households. Not people,
That's
4,500
amazing.
households during the month of January and February. We want to continue. By the end of March, we will have fed over 25,000 households.
Wow.
That's on top of the 20,000 we fed between October and
Yeah.
December of last year. So think in about 6 months, we'll have fed 50,000 households.
Wow, that's huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And so when you pour into this ministry and you give, this is what you're doing. This is exactly what you're doing. So, Tat, I can't say thank you enough
Thank you.
for just being on. And those of you who are part of ACF, listen, don't miss this coming Sunday. We know this month is Black History Month.
Black History Month.
And our worship team has prepared an amazing worship experience that's going to take us back to some of the, the church tradition that we used to have.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be preaching a special message entitled The Demands of History. So as you celebrate Black History, there's certain demands that movement puts on us in this generation today.
Wow.
And I'm going to be looking at 4 demands that history places on us. You don't want to miss that sermon.
Wow.
You want to gather your kids, bring them to church, spread the word, let them know that this Sunday at ACF, it is going to be lit. We're encouraging you to wear your African print. If you own those, something that's Afrocentric. We're a multicultural church, so we celebrate our cultures. When it's Hispanic Heritage Month, we're going to do the same thing. We want to make sure we celebrate all the cultures. So again, this Sunday at Agape Christian Fellowship, either in person or online, it is going to be lit.
Wow.
All right. Any closing words for our audience that you want to challenge them? So far, we have a few people that has logged on and they said that
Sure.
they're getting your product. So
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Thank you in advance to those of you who have already been visiting our website. I want to say thank you, Dr. Phil, again, for the opportunity to just share about self-care. You have been a role model to me for many, many years.
I met you many years ago.
Many years ago.
We won't say how long.
Yeah,
we're not going to date ourselves.
Yeah, but you have really been that constant, and I just appreciate and celebrate who you are, your wife, Lady Emma, for all of the wonderful things that you all are doing through DPM. So thank you for the opportunity, and I want to encourage each of you watching or that will be watching on the replay, take time for yourself. It is not selfish to care for yourself, and remember that you have one life, and if you don't take care of it, no one else will. So be encouraged, take time to breathe that breath of God that He has given inside of you, and start taking those practical small steps to live the life that He's called you to lead.
As a matter of fact, plan a self-care moment right now.
Yeah.
When you're done watching this,
Yeah.
pull out your planner and plan a self-care event. I'm going to do that probably next week. I'm going to take a couple of days just to breathe.
Yeah.
And then come April, I hope I can get on a plane and go and be somewhere with what I love the most, the blue waters of the Caribbean.
Yes, it's nothing like it.
With a bottle of water or a glass of water. I didn't say what color the water is, but it's a glass of water. So thank you for being on Faith Beyond Limits. For my special guest, Ms. Tatiana Fortune, for our studio staff here and all of our partners worldwide, this is Dr. Phil saying thank you for being on with us. If you're watching us on a replay, be sure to share with someone else. I'll see you guys on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, either in person or online at Agape Christian Fellowship for a great Black History service, Black History Month service. Until then, remember to practice self-care, because if you don't take care of yourself, no one else will. Have a good weekend.